My question is, what is the amount of pressure that you guys feel being an astronaut? There's only very few astronauts, so is it like, sometimes does it get to you, or is it just like, it's just, you guys roll with the punches?
It's an absolutely fantastic question.
Hey, what?
Maybe I'll let everybody speak. Just try to be. I'll try to be brief. A guy engineer walked up to me at Johnson Space Center. He's like, "Wow, you're the commander for Artemis 2. Like, aren't you terrified?" And it was at that moment I was like, "I never actually thought about that. I wasn't terrified until right now." And so I think like every day that you all wake up and you come on the Kennedy Space Center. Like, there are people that will take their family vacation once in their lifetime to come onto Kennedy Space Center. And I think when you work in something day in and day out, you understand how awesome it is, how amazing it is, and what a gift it is. But it also starts to become normal. At the end of my first week on the space station, a German volcanologist, Alex Kursk, was with me, and he floated by and he said, "Yeah, it's normal." And it was amazing, and we both stopped and started laughing. Like, we're 250 miles off the planet, going 17,500 miles an hour, and we think it's completely normal. That's what human brains do. But we know the gravity of this, we love it. We have moments of fear, we have moments of joy, and I think we do understand what is ahead of us.
First thing I want to say is just, touching on this idea, I think the social emotional side of this, the cognitive side of this is so important, and I wish we spent more time talking about it. So the first thing I want to say is just, yes, there's a lot of pressure, and just to acknowledge that, I think is huge. To be able to be honest about that. And I would just say that, if I asked you all to raise your hand, I'm going to put you on the spot since you put us on the spot. How many of you get nervous giving speeches? How many of you, if I made you come over here right now and tell us the details of what you do, would be nervous, right? Well, you know what? I still get nervous. If you could come up here and look closely at my hand, you'd see it shaking. But see, the thing is I practice, right? I practice doing this. And so I've been able to take that nervous energy and focus it into what I'm doing. I said it earlier. Anything you practice, you get good at. And so that's just one facet of, we learn to work with it. We do sims, we work with each other, we spend time. We know that I may not be as good at this, but she is. And so there are a lot of different strategies we have for coping with that pressure. But again, back to the beginning statement, you can't deal with something that you can't acknowledge. And so just acknowledging that, I think, opens up the space for that discussion.
I completely agree with everything that's been said. I think that acknowledging what we have and also doing a personal inventory of your own strengths and weaknesses, the things that intimidate you, the failures that you may be worried about that are out there, is huge for taking on those pressures and making sure that you can still perform and give back to your team despite them. I think NASA does a great job of taking an incremental approach to our training so that we don't necessarily feel that big weight. We know that we're well prepared, that every step along the way we've been prepared for, but it is there. I think for me personally, one of the ways that I make sure that that pressure isn't too much or that it's not affecting the team is to just bring my personal best every day, because then I know that I am actually doing everything that I can. If I leave something on the table one day, that's going to be when I start to feel the pressure, when I know I haven't actually given it my all that day or performed. And then the other part goes back to actually the name of his capsule, resilience. Being able to forgive yourself when you do make those mistakes, that takes a lot of pressure off as well. And I think we forgive each other too.
Yeah, I think the only thing I could add to that is maybe just a little story about when I was selected by Canadian Space Agency. I had this sense of like, the human brain is weird how you kind of trick yourself that you're not quite good enough. And I had this sense of, I really pulled the wool over their eyes. I had been selected by all these people I met. And then I'm like, I remember thinking this to myself, I'm really going to have to bring my A game when I get down there to Johnson Space Center. And then I got down there and I met Reed, and I'm like, I'm going to be just fine. So the point of it all is we recognize we're all just humans and we're all the same. All of us in the room, everybody here. And the difference is you don't go to space on your own. Like, there is a lot of pressure, but it's relieved by the fact that I got a huge team of people that are actually making this happen. I'm not doing it. It's not Jeremy Hansen. I just have to do my part, and it gets really clear what I have to do. And like you said, just do my best, and that'll be good enough.